Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Thank you so much. So we'll start with Mangalachara prayers. Please recite after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gasadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to Divasana, welcome to Gayatri, Kripadan Mahamadi, Ji Guru Ji Katara, Paramananda Madhavam, Ji Chaitanya. Hare Krishna everyone. So yet again we have joined, we have all come together to get some wisdom from our very own scripture, that is Bhagavad Gita. Right? So time and again we have to put this in our head that this is a very important scripture in our life, and somehow we have actually lost touch, right? Maybe our parents, our grandparents. Somehow the touch was lost, right? And it's our duty now to revive it, right? Take the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita and actually apply it in a daily life. So that's the main motive of this course, so that you understand the reason why you're here, right? That is the main reason when it comes to Vedanta Sutra. The first question that is asked is Atato Brahma Jigyasa, right? That means, who am I? Why am I here? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? Right? Why am I suffering? And I don't want to suffer. Right? So these are some of the existential questions that we have. As human beings, we should have these questions. And where do we find the answers to these questions? Bhagavad Gita, the scriptures. Yeah. So this is like a life manual that the Lord has actually given to us. I gave an example like last time, the washing machine example, where the company gives a manual along with the washing machine, right? So similarly, the Bhagavad Gita that we have is the manual for leading a proper human life, right? Okay? So we dedicate this presentation to Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. So he is that personality because of whom I am here. We are all here, right? All the devotees who actually reaches out, calling you, messaging you. It's all because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy that we are able to do this service, right? So they say Vaishnava is Paradukka Dukhi, right? He is very compassionate. Right? He doesn't just see things for his own benefit, right? He looks at everyone and he sees everyone is suffering. So that was Srila Prabhupada. He is the epitome or someone who is a proper Vaishnava, someone whom we have to learn from. So he saw people are suffering and he didn't confine Bhagavad Gita to himself, all the knowledge that he had gained. He didn't confine it to himself. What he did was, he went out, started preaching outside of India. So that's how Bhagavad Gita was. Started reaching out to various continents, or various countries. So it's only because of Srila Prabhupada. So that's why he says Paradukka Dukhi symbolizes that. Okay? So all glories to him. Today it's a very important topic, right? A very important topic. I think last time we spoke about mind, right? That is a very important topic. But this is an even more important topic when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, right? Who is pulling my strings? Right? Let's start. Who's pulling my strings? These are some of the questions. Have you ever wondered? See, if you see our behavior, suddenly our mood changes. Mood swings. We keep having mood swings, right? Every one of us experience that, right? Then suddenly, if I'm talking to some person, he is good at sometimes, and suddenly something triggers and he becomes bad. You've seen that happening, right? The mood swing happens so quickly. What is really happening? Why sometimes they say you have a close friend, and after some time something happens and it becomes an enemy, right? This is about others, and something about ourselves. Right? So what is the reason for oscillation between the good mood and bad mood? We need to understand this. So the whole session will go along this concept itself. What is really triggering this? Right? Some days we are, when it comes to work also, or any kind of chores that we do at our home also, we're very productive. Some days we are lethargic. Don't feel like doing it. Lazy. Right? Some days there's a lot of enthusiasm. Right? And see what is really triggering. We need to understand this because you are the same person. Every day, see, you are the same person with same expertise, same qualification, same status. but something really changes us. So the result also should be same, the way we behave also should be same. But something changes us all the time. Sometimes I can do wonders, but sometimes I'm totally a failure. Right? So we need to understand what is really happening. And we have our intelligence, knowledge, physical strength. Same knowledge, I'm the same person. But again, there are some changes that is really happening. Something that is, we are totally a different person the next moment. Right? So we'll find out who is controlling me. Right? And let's look at Bhagavad Gita itself. Right? We'll ask this question to Bhagavad Gita itself. Please recite this after me. Adhishtanam tata karta Karanam cha pratakvidham Vividascha pratak cheshtha Daivam chaiva prapanchamam. Can somebody read the translation, please?
The place of action for the performer of various senses within different kinds of thinking for and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action.
Thank you, Madhu. So this is from Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, sloka 14. So any action that we do, we have a feeling that I am the doer. Like we constantly have that feeling. I am the doer. So here Bhagavad Gita actually explains, we are not just the doer. We are not the only doer. There are 5 factors that come into picture. The first one is Adhishthana. Adhishthana is the body. This is the place of action. Okay? And next one is Karta. What is Karta? Karta is the soul. That is the doer. Okay? So it's the body. The first one is Adhishthana. Second one is Karta. Third one is Karanam cha pratakvidam. It's your different kinds of senses that we have. Okay? So we have 3 things right now. And then Vividascha pratak cheshtha. The different kinds of endeavors that we do. Right? This is the 4th one. Different kinds of endeavors that we do. And the 5th factor is Daivam, the divine, the super soul. Right? So it is the first one is Adhishthana, that's a place of action, that is the body. Second one is Karta, that is ourselves, which is the spirit soul, Jivatma. Then Karanamcha Pratakvidam, that is the senses. And then Vividascha Pratak Cheshtha, that is the different kinds of endeavors that we do. And the final one is Daivam, the divine, the super soul. Right? So constantly we tell this, no? I am the doer. So now we get an understanding, it is not just us. We have one factor. There are another 4 factors that define anything that we do, the results that we get. It depends on the other 4 factors as well. So it's a combination. It is not just me who is doing it. Right? So I'll give you, say, a better graphical understanding. Like for instance, if we have a desire, what really happens, right? Can you see this slide? Yeah. So what we do now we have this 4-5 factors that I told about. We'll actually divide it into, put it into 3 different buckets. The first one we put it as Jivatma, that is ourselves. Then there is Paramatma, which is Daiva, divine, which I said. And the third one is a combination of material nature, that is our senses, our body, and the different endeavors. So we put it in 3 different buckets. The Jivatma, Paramatma, and the material nature. Okay? So what can our soul do? If you want to do anything, what can the soul do? Desire. Soul can actually only desire. So that is something, a characteristic of soul. We can't be desireless. Right? Soul is there, it will desire. So what happens when we have a desire? Paramatma, the divine, Daivam, sanctions it. See, it sanctions. We haven't decided it goes to Paramatma. Paramatma sanctions it based on our credits. Do we have the actual credits for us to fulfill that karma? Right? It just doesn't happen like that. We have a desire, and it is Paramatma who actually sanctions it. And what is after sanctioning, what does Paramatma do? It tells the Prakriti to execute it. Right? So this is how it works. So this is the flow chart, how it works. So if you see, Krishna says in 9th chapter, 10th verse, Maya Dakshena Prakriti, Duyate Charachara, Hetuna Nikaunteya, Jagat Vipra Vartite. So he says, Maya Adhekshena Prakriti. The Prakriti works according to my orders. A lot of people believe that nature works, nature brings Krishna. So here Krishna makes it very clear. Maya Adhekshena Prakriti, 9th chapter, 10th verse. Where he says, Prakriti works according to my orders. Prakriti is subordinate. Right? So that's what is happening here. So we desire, the Lord sees if you have enough amount of credits, spiritual credits, to actually get that desire fulfilled. Once that is done, he actually tells the Prakriti to execute. And that's how the whole thing manifests. So it's very similar to, like, I'm going for shopping. Right? When I go to shopping, I like this particular jeans, I like this particular t-shirt. Right? I put it in my basket, I come to the counter. Now I come to the counter, what decides that I can actually take that pant and shirt? The money, my purse. So that is the credits. So I desire to have the pant and t-shirt. But what decides is the credits. Yes? Now if you see this, now we also spoke about karma. Right? Karma we spoke about punya and papa. So what is good punya? What is punya and what is papa? What is punya and what is papa? Good deeds, is that it? Good deeds according to what I think is good deeds? Good deeds according to the scriptures is punya. What is papa? Which is what? Bad deeds. And anything against the scriptures is considered to be as bad deeds. So that is how punya and papa works, right? So good punya leads to, good desire leads to punya, and that leads to enjoyment. A bad desire leads to papa, leads to suffering. Right? Very simple. Now you remember this flowchart because this is very important for this understand the whole concept. Right? So how we have divided the 5 factors that was involved in doing any kind of activities. Then we clubbed it into 3 different buckets. Jivatma, Paramatma and the material nature. Okay? Alright. Now let's get into the 3 modes of material nature. I spoke about the different kinds of mood swings. People's characters change. All of a sudden, a friend becomes an enemy. So what is really happening? Right? Now this is where the important concept of 3 modes of material nature comes into picture. I am sure you would have heard about the 3 modes: Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna and Tamasic, Tamo Guna. Right? So in English it is called mode of goodness, which is Sattva Guna, mode of passion, which is Rajas, and mode of ignorance, which is Tamasic or Tamas. Right? So let's dig deep to understand the characters. Bhagavad Gita has got everything to understand. See why certain people act in a certain way. So we have a preconceived notion that we deem them as bad or good. But we need to go behind the scenes and understand why they are acting in a certain way. Why we are acting in a certain way. Right? So Bhagavad Gita actually gives you those answers. It's very practical. I don't know Why people say it is not work, it is not a book for our yoga. Right? It's eternal. It's throughout. Right? So let's dig deep and try to find answers. Let's dig into Sattva Guna, which is the mode of goodness. Let's find the characteristics of people under the mode of Sattva Guna. Please repeat after me. Mukta Sango Nahambadi Dhriti Utsaha Samadvita Siddhi Asiddhyo Nirvikaraha Karta Sattvika Uchyate. Can someone read the translation, please?
One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness.
Thank you so much. This is from the Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, sloka number 26. Right? This is the characteristics of a person in the mode of goodness. So one who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature. We'll get to that a little later. That's a little deeper topic. Now, the next one is without false ego. So when you say the person in the mode of goodness, he understands that he is not the only doer. We discussed about the 5 different aspects, right? He may not know that all the 5 different aspects. Some of us may not have known. But we also know, some of us may know, it is entirely not us. It is something beyond us. Right? So that is one where the mode of goodness, the person under the mode of goodness, he acts without false ego. Next is with great determination and enthusiasm. So when you actually give any kind of work to a person under the mode of goodness, you know what is the first question he will ask? How can I do this work? He wants to execute the work. That is the main thing. He wants to do the duty. Right? And he will do with great determination and enthusiasm. And he doesn't care about the results. He's not really bothered about the results. He wants to finish his duty. Right? So what happens here is, even say, without wavering in success or failure, is said to be worker in the mode of goodness. So when there is success after the work, he doesn't go crazy. He doesn't throw a party. He's equipoised. Even when it comes to things, if it doesn't work in his favor. He has done his duty, but he is calm, sober, equipoised. So that's the characteristic of a person under the mode of goodness, Sattva Guna. Right? So let's dig deeper to find out what is the happiness that comes under the mode of goodness or Sattva Guna.
First sentence for
Which one, Prabhu?
without association with the modes of material nature.
And that is actually a deeper concept, Prabhu. So that's a deeper concept. So that is something that we cover at a later session. So that's why I left that. So we start off. So basic things we have to understand is without false ego, and any kind of work that he is given is with determination he does it, and enthusiasm. And when it comes to the results, he doesn't really bother if it's working in his favor or not working in his favor. Right? He's equipoised. So when it comes to happiness, under the mode of goodness, let's read this. Yattat agre visham eva pariname matopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Can someone read the translation, please?
Which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end it is like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. See, you have to understand the kind of happiness that a person experiences in the mode of goodness, Sattva Guna. So initially it said that it is like poison when you start off some work in the mode of goodness. And later it becomes nectar. For example, For example, if I give, like waking up early in the morning, we say that, right? Wake up in Brahma Muhurta time. Right? It's very beneficial. It has got beneficial physically, it has got benefits when it comes to spiritual aspects as well. Right? So when I say wake up early, it doesn't mean 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Right? So Brahma Muhurta is 1.5 hours prior to sunrise. Right? Anything close to 4:30 is Brahma Muhurta time. Right? And it's very conducive when it comes to health, or very conducive to practice devotional service. There's a lot of energy that is there at that particular time. At that particular time, the mode of goodness is very prominent. So that's why in the previous, if we go 100, 200 years back, our grandfathers, their grandfathers, used to wake up very early because it was imbibed in them that you are supposed to get at this particular time. I used to remember my grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, I've heard about him, that he used to wake up very early at 4:30. There are so many people, actually my senior, he said that, someone had asked him what time you wake up and he said 3:30. Prabhuji, वो तो रात है ना? नहीं वैसे ही आता है ना? वो तो रात, a lot of people, in fact, I actually do a night shift. So unfortunately, I can't wake up at Brahma Muhurta, I sleep at Brahma Muhurta. So there are fortunate people like you who would not be doing it. So it is a great opportunity. But what happens? When we tell you to wake up at Brahma Muhurta, remember the mind concept, right? Our mind will tell, क्यों उठना है? थोड़ा और सो जा, अभी तो रात है, right? So when it's that time to wake up, what is more dear to you? Your bed. The nearest will leave everything, right? So this is where it comes to picture. But what happens at a later point, it's actually beneficial for your health. It is beneficial when it comes to your spiritual progress. So that's why waking up Brahma Muhurta is considered to be very auspicious. But in beginning, it's very, that's why I said poisonous. Headache, कौन सुनेगा वो पागल का, क्यों बोल रहा है 4:30 को उठने को, right? So it's very similar. But at a later stage, it's nectar, right? And another thing is that I give an example of exercise. A lot of determination, hard work that we need to do, exercise. Go to the gym, lift weights, do your cardio. And you have seen New Year is around the corner. We have so many people coming up with New Year resolutions, which last for only 6 days. Right? So gym people also know, gym owners also know, they put a very attractive price, 10,000 rupees for the entire year, 9,999. Right? Very attractive. We calculate, oh, it's only coming up to 700, 800 rupees a month. And we join. But the gym people also know, at least 70 to 80% won't come after 1 week. I was one of them. Right? I had paid the entire year fees. I took a resolution speaking to my friends, and I just went for 2 weeks if I'm not wrong. And that's it. It's very common, right? So beginning for any kind of exercise, to continue it, it's really tough. That's the mode of goodness. There is a lot of enthusiasm, there is a lot of determination that we need to put in any activity that we do. Forget about the results. At a later point, there is a lot of happiness. Your health is good, you have a very chiseled body, right? So that is the happiness or nectar, right? So this is the kind of happiness that you experience when it comes to the mode of goodness. That is, seems like poison in the beginning, that is nectar later on, right? Another example that I've written here is, now a dietitian also, when you go to a dietitian, he or she will prescribe some nutritious food on a daily basis. You have this will keep a check on your weight, will keep a check on your health, your cholesterol or whatever. लेकिन हमको नहीं अच्छा लगता ना, मसाला नहीं है, spicy नहीं है, right? So that's all. Initially it's a little tough, but later on it has got its own benefits and we feel like nectar, right? So let's get on to the next one, that is mode of passion. Rajas. So here we will understand. So goodness, we understood the characteristics and the kind of happiness that they derive. Right? Now in the mode of passion, we will understand the characteristics first. Let's look at Bhagavad Gita. Ragi karma phala predhur lubdo himsatmako tujhe harsha sokanvita karta rajasa parikirtiha. Can someone read the translation, please? Thank you so much, Prabhu. This is from Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, sloka number 27. Now we understood when you are giving any kind of work to a mode of goodness, a person mode of goodness, he asks how to do the work. When it comes to the mode of passion, people are the mode of passion. Now I want you all to understand the mode of goodness, because after this I'm going to ask you, what do you fall under? So you can analyze and see what you fall under, okay? And the second one we are talking, when you are giving any kind of work to a person under the mode of passion, you know what you ask first? Mujhe kya milega? What's in it for me? Who is saying kids? What's in it for me? Right? So the people under the mode of passion, you can see corporate life. I am from sales background, so I know there's so much of passion when it comes to sales. We have got targets, right? We've got goals that we need to achieve, and constantly we are working towards that. Right? We're not sitting in with constant tension all the time. If my team is working towards the goal, will my boss be happy with what I have achieved so far? Just 1.5 months, did I achieve my target? So very passionate about work, about the results. Right? So you saw, in the mode of goodness, he's not very passionate, he's not very bothered about the mode of, the end result. But when it comes to passion, what's in it for me is the first question. And then he's greatly taken over by the results. So if it's a result that is working in his favor, he's very happy, elated. He throws a party, calls his friends, relatives, throws a party. What happens when he goes through failure? It's completely morose, sad. And these are the people who actually go into depression also. Because the mood swing is like a pendulum. It hits the extreme always, either this way or that way. Right? When it comes to the mode of goodness, you saw, it's equipoised. He remains calm. He remains sober. When it comes to passion, it is moving like a pendulum. Right? And another thing that I wanted to talk about here, see, we have spoken about he's attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits. Right? And he's always greedy, wants more. He's achieved something, he wants more. This is the characteristic of a person in mode of passion. And he's always envious. Right? He's impure. And he's moved by joy and sorrow, which we just spoke about. It's like a pendulum. Now when we say greedy and he's envious, does anybody know the difference between jealousy and enviousness? I'll tell you. So jealousy is something I don't have, Prabhuji has, and I wish to have. That is jealousy. Now what is enviousness? Enviousness is something I don't have. Prabhuji has. He should also not have. Right? So this is the difference between jealousy and enviousness. Right? And one more thing is that when it comes to corporate world, there's so much of aggression, there is so much of passion that goes on. There's something called a scrap mentality. We spoke about the scrap mentality. So when a person actually catches the crab, right, and he's taking it to the market, have you seen that they don't actually, they take a container, they don't cover it with a lid. Because the crab will actually do the job for him. He just carries it on his head, on his shoulder, And if a crab is trying to escape the container, another crab pulls it down. That is the enviousness we are talking about, the crab mentality. Another thing is that there was a survey done I was just speaking to my class yesterday. There was a survey done in UK and between some people, and they were given two options. The first option was that you will get 30,000 pounds. That's the first option. But your friend will get 40,000 pounds. That person asked, what's the second option? Second option is you will get 20,000 pounds and your friend will get 10,000 pounds. You know what? Most of them, 60% of them voted for the second option. You know how enviousness comes into picture? Now, though there is a need for 30,000 pounds, he doesn't want the other person to get more than. He's actually able to, he comes into a state where he wants to lower his requirement, but ensure that the other person doesn't get it. So those are the people in the modes of passion, right? Another important thing about people in the modes of passion, they'll be very lusty also, right? There are a lot of sensual feelings. That is one of the characteristics when it comes to the mode of people in the mode of passion, right? Now let's understand what happiness do they derive or they experience when it comes to the mode of passions. We just covered the characteristics. Okay? Please repeat after me. Vishendriya samyoga yattat agrihtopamam pariname vishameva tatsukam rajasamsukam. Somebody read the translation, please.
That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at the first but poison at the end is said to be the nature of passion.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this is from Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, verse number 38. So here it says, what is the difference between the goodness and the mode of passion? Here it is, happiness first, nectar first, and then it becomes poisonous. Completely ulta of what goodness was. So it was poisonous first and nectar. Now it's nectar first, poison. So when it comes to mode of passion, right, these people want everything instant. No patience, no tolerance, everything instant. Now if you have seen in aeroplane, when we travel, right, everything instant only you get, right? When you see the menu, I'm thinking there is poha, everything is mentioned. I was wondering how will the air hostess make the poha? What they do is they get that container. When you ask for poha, and they pour the hot water. They tell, keep it for 10 minutes. What will happen? As soon as you open, poha is ready. Right? Instant. They have it ready. I thought she is going to go inside and start cooking. Right? So this is instant when it comes to poha or any kind of. But these are all, if you understand, this processed food are all carcinogenic. Very cancerous. So one of the reasons why a lot of people we hear about cancer becoming like a disease that is on a, we hear it like people are getting fever, no? That's how we are hearing about cancer now. It's because of lifestyle, it's because of such things. When it comes to mode of passion, everything is instant, right? Instant, maybe we have instant, right? When it comes to movies, we don't need to go to the movie halls now. Everything is there in the OTT platform, right? Everything is at a click of a finger. The lift example I gave you. Right? We are in the ground floor. The lift is actually coming from 10th floor. We press the button, we are supposed to wait. Showing 10, 9, 8. But we keep pressing. Why do we do that? Instant. There is no patience at all. You want it immediately. Right? And another thing I wanted to cover See, when it comes to this was an experience that was shared by my senior. So after their work, they were actually traveling back. They are at their company bus, which actually drops them back to their house. So this was during probably when Prabhuji used to, our senior brahmachari, when he used to work. So then I think he was stuck in the ORR or one of the roads, major traffic jam, right? And Prabhuji was happy that there is traffic jam, fine, he hasn't completed his rounds, so he'll do his rounds, and there was some reading also left. So every time when it comes to a spiritual person who is inclined to spirituality, he will see this as an opportunity, not trip about it. There was a person next to him, one of the colleagues which is in a different department. So Prabhuji started taking out his beads and he started chanting. This particular person was so restless. He got up, he's looking at everyone else. He got down on the bus, he's looking at the entire pile of vehicles that is lined up, right? And till eternity is gone, right? All the vehicles are piled up. He's very angry, he's looking angrily at the driver also, right? So again, and then he comes in and he sees Prabhuji actually chanting, he's even more angry. Looking at him holding the beads and chanting, right? So this is what happens, there is no tolerance. There is no tolerance at all. Can we do anything about the traffic jam when we are on the bus that time? We can't do anything, right? We can only hope some traffic police comes, makes it better. Getting down, dresses, being angry with the driver, what can he can't fly it, no? Right? So that is one thing. And then I also wanted to talk about food. When it comes to food, right? When it comes to food, a lot of goodness. The food is very wholesome, very juicy, very nutritious. When it comes to the food of passion, food will be very spicy, masalela, very hot. You eat that, smoke will start coming from all the 9 holes of your body. That is the kind of food people enjoy when it comes to the mode of passion. Right? The food also creates or makes a lot of impact. We'll come to that a little later. Right? Now, just by hearing others also, when it comes to the mode of passion, if I hear something from a particular person about a certain object that he bought, there's an urge that is developed in the mode of the people in the mode of passion that he wants to get that, wants to enjoy that. For instance, a headphone, I just heard about a particular headphone and it's got noise cancellation and it's too good. Your music and all starts, you feel like you're actually attending a concert, right? Dolby surround sound right on your right at your ears, and then I feel like I should actually pursue it. So that is another mode of passion only. If there's a certain urge, you hear about a certain thing from another person, you feel like getting those, right? So that is another, we covered the mode of goodness, characteristics and happiness. Mode of passion, characteristics and happiness that is derived, which is instant, right? Happiness is instant. He doesn't really bother, right? He wants instant. Later on, he doesn't really think about the end result, what is really going to happen. That's why it says, it looks like nectar in the beginning, but it's poisonous in the later part, right? Now let's look at ignorance, tamas, right? Please repeat after me. Ayuktaha prakarta stabdha sato naishkrito lasa vishadi dirgha sutricha karta tamsa uchyate. Can someone read the translation, please?
The water is always engaged in what is the intention of the scripture, which is naturalistic, obstinate, taking and expert, in insulting others, who is lazy, always morose and procrastinate integrate with the water in a mode of ignorance.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So it's from Bhagavad Gita 18.28. So these are the characteristics that is mentioned by Lord Krishna about people under the different kinds of modes. So now we have come to the mode of ignorance. The person the worker who is always engaged in work against the injunction of the scriptures. He doesn't believe the scriptures at all. He doesn't believe at all. He doesn't believe we are soul. He doesn't believe there is afterlife. He completely rejects the scriptures. Totally adverse. Averse to the fact that we are spiritual beings, there are scriptures which is for our benefit. Completely under darkness. Completely rejects it. Right? So these are people. I'm sure you would have spoken to a lot of people. You would have come across a lot of people who behave certain way. I don't believe this. You can keep this for yourself. Right? And then they're completely in darkness. They are very materialistic. People under the mode of ignorance. Completely materialistic and obstinate. Obstinate doesn't mean determination. Not determined. Siddhi. Stubborn. And cheating and expert in insulting others. And these are the characteristics of people under the mode of ignorance. And they are always lazy. There are people who are sleep for hours together, right? Hours together. The people. I'm not talking of a person who is actually very tired. Otherwise, he's constantly sleeping. The people I have heard sleep for 14 hours, 15 hours and all. I don't know how they do that. Right? And the worker is also in the mood of procrastinating. He has certain work. Procrastinating. Pushing it for a later day. Right? And this is the worker in the mode of ignorance. Right? So this person, you can't do much about it. If you even shake it, there is not much of changes. If he has decided, because he is obstinate. Ziddhi. If he has decided he wants to sleep, he will sleep. Very difficult to actually change him or shake him from that particular activity. Right? So let's look at the happiness that is derived under this mode. Yadagre chanubandhe cha Sukam mohanam atmana Nidralasya paramadotam Tattamasam udhatam. Can someone read the translation, please?
And this happiness, which is blind to self-realization, which is revolution from beginning to end, and which arises from sin, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance.
Thank you, Mataji. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, sloka number 39. So when it comes to the happiness that is derived in the mode of ignorance, it is poison in the beginning and poison in the end. So that is what the happiness is derived. And these people don't realize it. And they're completely in delusion. We heard about a lot of people getting intoxicated, drug addiction. I recently heard about something called a snake bite. Have you all heard about snake bite? Huh? It's a kind of intoxication. So there are people who actually carry snakes. These are venomous snakes also. And what they do, they get the snake to bite your tongue. And there is a certain kind of kick that you get. So he blacks out for some time. There's blurred vision. There's some kind of high that takes him for a certain time. And once the poison wears off, then he's in a completely different state itself, no control. And then he's looking for more, because the other small intoxication that he was taking, maybe the alcohol or cigarette or whatever, is very small for him. Right? This is something that is, I don't know how, when it comes to India, I don't know how people are doing this, but I've heard about it, but in foreign countries this is quite common. Right? So for people under the mode of goodness and all this, hearing this only they are thinking, right? Getting a snake close to your mouth and getting your tongue bitten. Right? It's something that we can't imagine at all. So that's why they are always in ignorance, in darkness. right? They do what they feel like. Stubborn, you heard about stubborn. They decided something. Then these are the people who they don't think about the consequences at all, even when they are starting off something. That's why it says poisonous in the beginning, poisonous later on also. The mode of ignorance. Right? So, now I want to ask a question. I told you that we all need to analyze ourselves. The three modes that I gave you. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Which mode are you in? Who wants to raise hands when he says mode of goodness? Okay. Mode of passion? Most of us. And mode of ignorance. Very nice. Very nice. So, when it comes to the material nature, nobody can be 100% in goodness mode, nobody can be 100% in the passion mode, and nobody can be 100% in ignorance mode. Right? It's actually a combination. So that's why we say, we cannot stamp a person that he is good or he is bad. Because at that particular point of time, that particular mode is working on him. At that particular situation, that particular mode of goodness or mode of ignorance is actually working on him. At a later point, he is a completely different person. Now you see, there was one friend of mine who actually insulted me. So when he insulted me, I had a lot of grudge. I want to give it back. I wanted to make a comeback. So I decided all the points I written down. Next meeting I'm going to tell him all this and hurt him also. Next meeting when I have with my friend, he comes to me, Satish, whatever I told you last time, I'm really sorry. What really happened? Right? We were all planning infinite thoughts. We just spoke about mind, right? We constantly keeping grudge, infinite thoughts. I have written down so many points so that I insult him, make him cry. What he does? He comes to me and says sorry. How will I feel? So grudge or something or anger or something is like a coal that we are carrying or poison that we are carrying, thinking that we hurt others. Actually, it's something that is hurting us. That we need to understand. Right? So this is what the color palette, RGB, right? Primary colors, red, green and blue. This is just an example as to how the different modes actually work. Why people have different natures. Why people have different characteristics. Why they behave in a certain way. Because it's the combination. There's infinite number of combinations when it comes to adding a little bit of red, more of green, a little bit of blue. So you have infinite number of combinations this way. More of green, less of blue. So these are different types of characteristics. The RGB, the red, green and blue, I'm talking about goodness, passion and ignorance. These are the three things. And for every individual here, we have certain percentage of each. Sometimes our mode of goodness actually takes prominence over the other two. Sometimes our mode of ignorance takes prominence than the other two. So if you look at, let's read this, right? We'll understand why people change drastically. Right? Ratastamas Sattvam bhavati bharata Rajasatvam tamaschaiva Tamasattvam rajastata. Somebody read the translation please.
Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O Sama Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion is goodness and ignorance, and the other time ignore this is the goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse number 10. So now we understand, right? Why people change drastically. Right? He was so good today, he becomes bad tomorrow. So there are different kinds of modes that takes prominence. Like I told, at a certain point of time, the mode of ignorance comes into picture. Right? So, another thing that I want to talk about is, see, Bhagavad Gita actually gives you practical answers. Now we understand why certain people behave in a certain way. It also helps us understand, analyze ourselves. Why we behave in a certain way. I behaved so well with my kid yesterday and suddenly I became so angry. So one thing we have to understand is the situation and what are the different modes that work behind that to give you that kind of aggression or whatever it is. Right? We need to understand, we need to look. So when we are dealing with other person, we will actually come to that. It will give us a better perspective to deal with people. Right? And consciously also we take efforts to better ourselves. Right? We constantly think, why did I behave in a certain way? If I have hurt someone. Right? So let's look at this. How do we get into these modes? The material nature, by design, three modes are there. Right? Sarpaguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. How do we get into these modes? So Krishna has explained. Purusha prakriti sohi bhukte prakriti jnana karanam guna sangasya sat asatyoni janmasu. Can somebody read the translation, please?
The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various places.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, verse number 22. So here main point is Karanam Guna Sangasya. It is the association with the material nature. This is what Krishna says. That's how we deal with, we come across different modes in our life. So it is association with different nature. So for example, if I give an example about food, right? So food, a lot of people don't give a lot of prominence to why food is so important when we take food. Right? When it comes to, we like it all a lot of masaledar, right? When you actually speak to a person who is very negative, a lot of times it affects our mind also. Just by speech, you see how it affects our mind. So when it comes to food, this is something that we intake. It's going inside our system. It's turning into blood, flesh, so many other things, right? What goes in comes out. Jaisa an, Vaisa man. We have heard that. So we have to, so when it comes to ISKCON, right, the food that we have, the prasadam that we have, we are very conscious as to who is preparing it. We need to know that. So when it comes from the temple, these are the cooks who actually chant 16 rounds. We chant here 1 round, 7 to 9 minutes. They chant 16 rounds. That is just to get the consciousness high. Because the mood is also is that we are preparing the food for the Lord. Right? The Lord will take and then we'll partake the reverence. We offer as bhoga, then we honor the prasadam. So it's very important what goes in. Right? Because when it comes to food, right? The Krishna says even vegetarian food is sin only if you are not offering it to me. Because that's life. Right? Vegetarian food also has it. So what Krishna says? Patram pushpam phalam tove yoge bhaktya prayachati. So he says, you offer this with love to me. And then you partake. Then there is no sin. Otherwise, if you are only having it for your own gratification, your own pleasure, for your own taste. Even vegetarian food is considered to be a sin. So when it comes to ISKCON, we actually offer the food to the Lord. So even when they are cooking in the temple, right, you can actually, if you have gone to an area near temple, you can see, when you go to the kitchen, you can see the way they cook. When it comes to hygiene, they take care of hygiene. And the mantra, constantly Mahamantra is going on in the background, Kirtan is going on in the background, and that's how they're cooking. So when it comes to, when you go to the restaurant also, we don't know who is cooking food. Right? What kind of consciousness he is cooking with. Might be a person who is very greedy, envious, lusty, and that is the consciousness that is actually going into the preparation. हमारे मन में already so much कचरा है. Why to take so much more कचरा? Right? There are people who actually, my senior was telling, he was actually telling one of his juniors to actually not eat this Elewala food, which is not very hygienic, right? Pani puri. So he was telling him not to eat pani puri. But Prabhu, इसमें क्या taste है Prabhu? Spicy. So Prabhuji was like, देखो, it's fine, it's spicy, but it's not. I don't think it's prepared in an environment which is very hygienic. Roadside में traffic, cars ऐसे जाते हैं, धूल ऊपर आता है. वो पता नहीं वो कितने दिन से नहाया नहीं है. He starts. We have seen so many videos in Instagram. People are scratching and then he puts his entire hand in the elbow to make the pani. Right? ये खा रहे हो, प्रभु जी उसी में तो मजा है. So completely neglect all this. So it's very important. The food that we intake is very important because it affects our consciousness. There's a reason why this problem came into picture. Then place. Place is also very important. Now, if I actually am giving you this small pravachan that we are doing here, pravachan ke baad, I take a bottle of wine which I kept there. I make a small peg and I give it to you. Right? And says, Prabhuji, ऐसा मत करो. Right? Right? We won't feel like drinking it in a place which is, like for instance, I'm giving this place. Because there are so many sacred activities going on here. Our mind will not allow us to do that here. Right? Because there is puja happening on a daily basis. Sunday we have this pravachan, Saturday we have some program. Right? So constantly this place is energized with spiritual needs. So at this place, we won't feel like doing that kind of stuff. Even when I go to a pub, for instance, I go with my friends to a pub. I go to the pub, I greet my friend, Hare Krishna. I offer my Japamala to him. Let's chant. Will you do that? No, you won't do that. You won't feel like doing that. Can you even chant in that environment? Right? So place also plays a picture. A huge. Then and also people, there are clothes. So when it comes to clothes also, trading times people actually wear dhoti, kurta, right? So one of the reasons why people wear dhoti, kurta, clothes also plays a role, given their sari, is that it plays a lot of importance when it comes to the mode of Sattva-guna, right? So there was, I think, we have the youth club also when it comes to ISKCON, where our senior devotees actually train the youth, right, in spirituality. It's very important at that point of time to actually engage yourself in spirituality because that's the growing time, right? You don't get into any kind of bad deeds. So there is work from home happening and Prabhuji asked the youth, office नहीं गया, so he said it's work from home today. So he's wearing jeans and t-shirt, तो धोती कुर्ता के लिए पहना है, so Prabhuji is little like a Hitler. So प्रभु धोती कुर्ता में वो मजा नहीं आता है काम के लिए. जीन्स टी शर्ट या जीन्स शर्ट में gives that In the calm day, you become a little more dhira dara. Right? When you wear a corporate shirt, right, your shirt or tie and pants and all, it gives you some feeling that you are in a working environment and the job needs to get done. Right? So that is also very important. Clothes also sometimes is very important. Right? So when it comes to the mode of food that we spoke about, when it comes to Sattvic ahar we say, right? It's wholesome. It's wholesome, it's juicy, it's very nutritious. When it comes to the mode of passion, it's we like it very spicy, masaladar, right? Too hot, pungent in odor, right? And when it comes to the Tamasic mode, it's more of decayed, dead flesh, putrid things that we have. That is mode of Tamasic, right? So when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, right, it's defined everything as to what is good for you and what is bad for you. Ultimately, it's our decision how we want to progress. But when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, which is very practical in our daily life, it is actually getting us to a mode where it's very conducive for bhakti and spiritual activities. Right? Rules and regulations are not to bind us. It is actually to free us. We take it as something that is for binding us. If there are no rules and regulations, we are equal to animals. Right? So when we have this human form, there is a lot of stress that is given when it comes to Lord. It's given a lot of stress when it comes to regulating activities. Your sleep, your eating habits, your recreational activities, your work. Everything should be balanced. Nothing more, nothing less. Everything should be balanced. Spirituality and your materialistic lifestyle should be balanced. One should not be more, one should not be less. We should take it together. Like if I now the situation is such that now my friends, the friends I had, and they are still my friends, but they know me from a long time. When they hear my classes, tu to Guruji ban gaya, tu Guruji ban gaya, Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti and all is new thing for me. Right? So it was earlier times this was all normal. So now it's not normal at all. Various other bad activities have become normal. We have normalized that. And something that was normal from eternity has become abnormal. Right? You see how the Yuga has changed everything. So Kali Yuga is like that. It's the age of quarrel, it's the age of hypocrisy. It's like how our body degrades, right? From birth to death. Similarly, all the yugas, it shows us how everything degrades. Our smriti, memory power, degrades. Physicality, people used to live for thousands of years. Reduced. If you look at the size of the people also, they were very huge. Now we are so puny. When it comes to the lifespan, people used to live for, in Satyayuga, they used to live for thousands of years. Now what has come to? We expect to go till 70, 80. But at 30, 40 only we are scared now. So many news we hear about. People drop dead in the gym while walking, following a healthy lifestyle. No healthy lifestyle, and when it comes to there is no balance. So much of stress at the corporate level also. Everything is affecting us. See, the only way we can protect ourselves is following what is written in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah? It will help us to actually maintain our body, which is required to do devotion service. Right? To maintain our body, to maintain the right level of consciousness. We should do it on a periodic basis. Not just that I told, we just heard something now, and 1 or 2 days we are charged up, then we go back. Right? It's very important to have a habit, form a habit. And that happens when you do it on a daily basis. Right? So let's look at which is, now we all spoke about the three modes. So can you tell me which is a very good mode to be in? What do you think? Which mode is very good? Goodness? Sabko Guna, right? I'll tell you. Let's ask Bhagavad Gita itself. Which is the best mode? Don't go by my answers. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati Rajak karmani bharata Jnanam avatyatu tama Pramade sanjayati yuta. Can someone please read?
O son of Bharata, the mood of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion, conditions one to skill, intuitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So it's from Bhagavad Gita 14.9. So if you understand, all these modes are there in the material nature. The mode of passion actually binds you in fruitive action. The mode of ignorance actually covers your knowledge. When it comes to mode of goodness, it gives you a lot of happiness. Lot of happiness. So what happens here? When we said that mode of goodness is the best, it is. But Bhagavad Gita says the mode of goodness also actually binds you in the material nature. It says you are so happy that you don't want to leave the material nature. People are so happy now, and if you talk to a person from who's in Satvik, we have known him for long, all Satvik activities he's doing. He's doing good deeds. A lot of happiness that is deriving at that particular stage because of his previous karma and whatever he's doing right now. So he doesn't really think about the future. He just thinks about his current. The current is good because of his previous karma. It is good. Fine, he will probably run for a long time also. But what happens after that? He doesn't make any effort to go further in life. He's content. So Krishna says, he's content and he's stuck in material life. So it's just like, for instance, a prince and a minister and a soldier actually goes to hunting. Now while they are hunting, they are captured by the neighboring country king. They captured, they are kidnapped and they are taken and they are put behind the bars. The prince actually has a golden prison with golden shackles. The minister has silver prison with silver shackles. And the soldier has an iron prison with iron shackles. Who is in a better situation? Gold, huh? No one. So this is what we understand. So happiness is compared to the gold that is given to the prince. Happiness is there, but we have to understand it's temporary. Right? So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dukhale Ashashvata. This world is Dukhale. But even if you have happiness, this is ashvashvata. It's temporary. Everything, even dukkha is temporary. But there is cycle. Right? So when it comes to the mode of happiness, mode of goodness, happiness is something that is a key that actually blocks that person to advance further. Now, mode of happiness is not something that is bad. Mode of happiness, mode of goodness is very good because it actually helps us to do devotional service. Only when you come into, see, there is a reason why we are here. At this point of time, our mode of goodness is prominent. Right? From 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock from Sunday, here we want to come and attend the classes. Right? Hear about the Lord, hear about the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The mode of goodness is prominent. Right? So what happens is, we actually continue to stay in this mode for a long time. So when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, it says that devotional service will actually help you. Let's look at the next So how to get free from all of these modes? The mode of goodness is good. It is conducive for bhakti. It is gradually we are coming to that stage so that we can do bhakti. But by doing bhakti also, we have to transcend, and that is what the next sloka tells you. So Krishna tells how you can transcend. So Krishna, if you there are a lot of problems that Arjuna or questions that he is asking, there is solution for every question. So Bhagavad Gita is just not questioning. A lot of problems, Arjuna poses so many questions, right? But every question is answered. So Bhagavad Gita has got answers. So when I told about the mode of goodness, happiness is the main issue that will actually bind us to this material world. So Krishna tells how we can get out of it. Mam chayogim vaipacharina bhakti yogena sevate saguna samatiyati Brahma bhuya kalpate. Can someone read the translation, please?
One who engages into devotional service unfailing in all circumstances at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of God.
Thank you so much, Gauri. So this is where actually taken from Bhagavad Gita 14, chapter 26, chapter 14, shloka number 26. Now here Krishna says how we can transcend the modes, right? It is only through bhakti yogena sevate. So why bhakti is given so much prominence, right? To cover or transcend over these three modes of material nature, bhakti will actually help. And in this yoga, it is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that is actually going to help us. In Kali Sattata Upanishad, it is said, this Mahamantra has so much potency that you are in direct contact of the Lord. When you are chanting the Lord's name, it is said that the Lord is actually dancing on your tongue. Right? It is not like any mundane name that we can call on. How long will I call out Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola? Right? It will not give me any kind of pleasure. But that is not the same when it comes to Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So when we come together, all 60, 70 of us, actually when we chant, there is so much of energy. It's a little different when we go back home. We don't get that kind of effect maybe. Because I can feel that effect when I am chanting with you all. That's a little different than what I do when I do at Ranmahu. So there is so much of energy. So when Krishna also says, right? Krishna says, and I think it's in Padma Purana, that Narada asked him, where do you reside? So what does Krishna say? Naham Krishnami Vaikuntha. He says, I don't reside in Vaikuntha, nor do I reside with the yogis. Where does he reside? He resides where his devotees are calling his name. See, that's the reason Hare Krishna Mahamantra is given so much importance. In this age of Kali, this is very important. And it's the easiest process that we are doing. Still we find it very difficult. Lift the feedback and do our round. 10 minutes. Take shloka pad lo. Another 5 to 10 minutes. Right? And then coming in association, which we do on a regular basis every Sunday. Right? These are the three things that we need to do on a daily basis. And that's what Krishna says, Bhakti Yogena Sevate. This will ultimately help you to transcend the three modes of material nature. For now we may feel that we are in the mode of goodness. But we don't want to get, ultimately Bhagavad Gita actually helps you to understand your true self and where you actually belong. Right? You belong, you think you belong to the material nature, you have to go through the same cycle every now and then, life after life. And we have been doing this from life after life. Same thing we are doing in this particular body. And you want to do it again? That is the question. That's why it says, Bhagavad Gita, it says, human life is durlabha, it's very rare. It's because of a previous karma, previous good deeds that we have got this human form. Now, based on what you do right now, what are impressions that you have in your mind, that is what is going to come at the time of death. So that's why I told an example about there are so much red balls in our body, in our mind, red balls in all the bad deeds that we have done. And if we go into chanting, we see no, our bad thoughts come into our mind. Sometimes lusty thoughts, sometimes bad thoughts come into our mind. It is because only bad impressions are there in our mind. So devotional service is actually putting white balls. Fill it up with white balls. So what happens? Now when you put a hand in the mind, what will come out? Probability of the white ball coming out is more. So that is the deep, that is the impression that we need to put. The chanting does that. Reading of Bhagavad Gita shloka does that. Implementing that principles on a daily basis will do that. That is Bhakti Yoga and Sevati. Right? So when we learn, it's a very wonderful process also. When you come into association and you do so many activities here, let's not take it as a place where, like a kitty party, no, it's not a kitty party. Right? There is a different kind of vibe that is there when you come into a Bhakti center. Because there is only auspicious things that is happening here. So Lord is the center, and we are all offering our respect and love to Lord. When it comes to having the prasadam also, what Lord has tasted is what we are going to partake. Right? There is so much of positivity. It is actually only helping us. We may think it in a very material sense, what is really happening. But these are actually adding spiritual credits in. Right? These are creating impressions in your mind. And when you do this, make this as a habit, at the end of life, when I say last 50, 60 seconds, the entire life flashes in front of you. And you leave your body at the particular slide. If you have been doing only nonsense activities, or only bad deeds, this is going to stop. Naturally, it will stop at that particular moment. And based on that, we get a body. Our main motive is, the Bhagavad Gita actually teaches you the art of dying, they say. Art of living also, and art of dying also. Right? So ultimately, it is written, the book has been given, the knowledge has been given for our own benefit. We need to understand it. Now, another problem that we face is how do we deal with different personalities? We deal this on a daily basis, we come across with people. Okay. So actually I would have taken that as a message, but I'll just answer that. See, these are all three modes are actually comes under the material nature only. So we have to understand why Bhagavad Gita we understood that we are spirit souls. Right? So spirit souls, naturally, our world is a spiritual world. So anything that you do here will give us some kind of happiness for some time. And ultimately it comes to a stage of frustration or sadness. So when it comes to the mode, see, ultimately our aim is not to just remain happy and stay in material world. Beyond material world is something called a Shuddha Sattva stage. Where we actually when we are actually doing constant devotional service, we come to a stage where we understand why people are behaving in a certain way. Now we got to know, in a theoretical way. So when you come to that particular stage, you get a bird's view, like a helicopter view, as to why a person is acting in this particular way, why he is in a mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So we are in a spiritual level, we are in a spiritual platform, beyond the material platform. Right? So that's one thing. I hope I have answered your question. So it is, mode of goodness is good, it is not bad, but to stay there for a long time is not good. Because again, our motive is actually, as a spiritual soul, is to go back. Because Lord is waiting for us. And if you're constantly in this particular mode, doing good deeds, and you think this is going to help us, which is good. Doing good deeds is good. That's what you're supposed to do as a human being. But with that, you're supposed to do your devotional activities as well. Right? That is our work towards society and ourselves. Right? So how to get along with different personalities? This is something that we need. We deal with different people, right? There will be a person in everyone's life who will test all our parameters to its extreme. If you are married, you will probably be able to relate to this. Right? I'm just kidding. So when it comes to dealing with different people, it actually tests our stress level, durability level, functionality level. So it tests various ways, right? So how do we deal with this? We deal with this by understanding Bhagavad Gita, the concept behind Bhagavad Gita. We know why certain people act in a certain way, right now, right? So what kind of people we meet? I'm just running through slides right now. What kind of people do we meet? We meet people some are comfortable to deal with. We meet people some are manageable. And we meet some people who stay at a distance. These are some of the people that we deal with on a daily basis. Right? Now when it comes to, there are so many issues when it comes to marriages also, right? A lot of people actually give, earlier times they used to give a lot of importance when it comes to astrology. Astrology is a science, right? And when it is said in Vedic times also, and it has been followed even now to a certain point. A lot of people don't follow it. So when it comes to astrology also, I am not very good in astrology, I have just heard about this. There are people who are experts in astrology. So in astrology also there are gunas. Right? There is Asura Ganas, it's called. Asura Gana, there is Deva Gana, and there is Manav Gana. Right? So these are Asura Gana is the one who is in mode of ignorance. Manav Gana is someone who is in mode of passion. And Deva Gana is the mode of goodness. So when it comes to astrology also, when it comes to at the time of marriage, they actually compare the Kundalini. Right? And they compare the Kundalini to see how it matches. The person who is in goodness matches with someone who is equally in goodness. The same goes with passion and same goes with ignorance. So now at this time, since it is a modern time, the people, it's a little different now. Right? It gets a little controversial also. But there is a reason, the point that I am coming to is that there is a reason why this was considered. Even during Vedic times, if you see, we have heard very less about divorces also. Right now it's very too much, right? One of the reasons is people are not able to cope up with these. We have too much expectations. Constantly when it comes to relationship, it should be constantly, when it comes to, when you say love, right? Love means selfless. Love is selfless. Love doesn't mean selfish. Love is about giving, all the time giving, and not expecting. But in modern times, it's mostly expecting. What can I get? Right? And that is one of the reasons people are not able to cope up. People are not able to adjust. It's a little difficult. Right? So that's all I wanted to say about Vedic scriptures, why astrology was important. Why things mentioned in the scriptures are so important. So when it comes to, so even when you're hiring people, right, I can't really look at astrology and actually hire people. And with the resume you have to send your, what? Kundalini. I can't say that. Right? So again, we have a process. Right? We cannot control people. So there are certain situations that people act in a different way. So one of the ways that we should deal with such things is, I will actually tell you in the next slide. Right? Nahi kaschit shanam api jatu tishyati akarmakrit karyatehe avashya karma sarva prakriti jay gune Can someone read please?
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So this is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse number 5. See, everyone is actually forced to act in a certain way, right? Because he has acquired a certain quality from the modes of material nature. Karana, Guna, Sangha, remember that, right? Association with material nature. So how to get along with such people? Right? Let's get to that. Modes will work for sure, but effect can be minimized. Right? See, the modes will certainly work on us, but when you start understanding the Bhagavad Gita and the concepts, now we know how it is working on us. We can certainly minimize. We can certainly understand why we are behaving in a certain way. Right? Hate the sin and not the sinner. So we have to understand that the certain is at that point of time, he's under the mode of certain at that particular mode, and he's acting in that. So that's why they say hate the sin and not the sinner. Right? And forming perceptions, like I said, we can't stamp some person as bad, a bad person, and someone as a good person. Because that particular person, bad person, can be good at a later point of time also. A good person can be bad at a later point of time also. And then, when you get affected by someone, don't ponder on it too much. So with Gita, we have to understand why people, now we understood why people act in a certain way. Now if a certain person behaves in a certain way, has hurt me, has insulted me, I don't ponder on it too much. Right? Because I know there was certain activity that happened, certain situation, and then that particular mode took over and he behaved in a certain way. What do? We can tolerate it. We have to understand. There is a reason. Now what happens if I don't tolerate, I start fighting with him? It gets only worse. Right? It gets only worse. One of the ways we deal is, we actually put ourselves in their shoes. That's a particular reason Bobby has behaved like that. He's had a bad day and he behaved in a certain way. Normally he's not like that. But today he is like that. Right? We generally come up to conclusions that he is bad or he is good. Right? When it comes to the modes, now we understand why people act in a certain way. So based on that, we take our decision. Based on that, we can actually behave. Right? And of course, higher goal in life. So then, like I said, Sattva-guna, Raja-guna, Tamo-guna. These are the modes that handle us. We need to have higher goals. Just not stay stagnant. Come to Sattva-guna, just not stay there. It is good. It is good for bhakti. It is good for our body or whatever. But we have higher goals beyond that. As a spiritual being, we have higher goals. Right? We don't want to be stuck in material nature. Right? So again, these are the three things. We already spoke about this, so I won't go again. But I'm assuming that every one of us is actually chanting one round at least. Right? Please make sure that you chant one round. This is very important on a daily basis. Keep aside a time and please do it. And when you do that on a regular basis, it becomes a habit. That's how you develop a habit. You say, 21 days or 29 days or whatever. Keep a specific place in your house where you chant for some period of time. Read a book, read Bhagavad Gita, few one or two verses. Right? And come into association. Every Sunday we'll have something so that we also replenish our spiritual sadhana. That is very important. Okay? So what we'll do is, I quickly take few questions. So there's one or two questions. When if you have questions, please keep it in your mind. You can ask me when we're having prasad. So I just don't want to delay. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Any questions from previous concepts also? Any doubts?
Question or a comment. Recently, I met somebody, I've known this person for a long time. He is half Indian and half German. And I specifically say that because they're very meticulous in the way they do German. So he also has an Indian background, so he understands a lot of what he does. Some context we were talking, and one comment he made is, in Indians, when bad things happen to us, very quickly they say, oh, it's karma, what can we do? Right? And that's why we don't move towards perfection. I didn't know how to reply to something like that, right? Even small things which are rightfully ours, small or big. Let's say there's a land deed, you lost money. What do you do, Dharma? You can't go to the law, lot of times they only lost this money or whatever. So the comment that he made was like, Indians are not able to get to the next level of perfection in anything because you don't strive for it, saying that it is all karma or what can I do? How do you reply to something like that?
See, when we say it's all karma, it is just an understanding for us as to why things are happening. It doesn't mean that we slack and sit behind and not do anything. Right? Like that Prabhu who said, he might have dealt with few people and we probably came up to this conclusion or that when it comes, we just say that it's karma and just leave it. That's not the way it is. Because Krishna also says action is very important. Right? But knowing why that happens is also very important. Right? So karma, we say karma because we understand. We say karma because we have done our best and things didn't work in our favor or things worked out in our favor. Didn't work in our favor, we say it's karma. I did my best. I probably didn't have the credits or whatever to actually enjoy it. But that doesn't mean that we don't endeavor at all. Endeavor is required. And that's, we can't just say Indians are like that because if you see any kind of IT industry CEOs are mostly Indians only. Right? Probably the company that is working must be managed by CEO, he must be an Indian only. So we can't just, like I said, stamp someone and just say it's the entire sect or community is like that. So of course, we say it's karma because we have previous understanding that certain things are happening in our way because it's uncontrollable and it's happened. And the only possible logical reason is because I would have done something in the past. Maybe this life or previous life. Or previous to previous life. We never know. So that is just an understanding for us. And that doesn't stop us from doing activities. Never take that as we are not supposed to stop any activities. We are supposed to understand why this happens. Any other question? One more question? Yes. Right. So when it comes to Grihastha life, you can see all the Grihastha here, most of my peers and my seniors here, all are Grihastha, all are married. I'm married. Right? So what we do, I'm just like you all, like I told you, I work in a IT company. I'm from a sales background. So what we are also spiritual seekers like you. Yeah? Not yet perfect. Still work in progress. Right? So it's very easy when it comes to balancing. Because when we create that kind of environment in the house, it's very easy. So when we do all the kinds of activities that we do, when we talk about hearing a lecture, when I say hearing a lecture, you can, if your husband or friend or anyone or your whoever is there, mother or father, anyone is there, you can listen with them. Right? So it's maintaining spiritual sadhana at home also. And if someone is not inclined towards it, we don't force them also. If they are open to listening, we can certainly tell. But we can balance. So our material life and Grihastha and spiritual life both can be balanced. If you see, Arjuna was a Grihastha. And Arjuna spoke about renouncing everything. What did Krishna say? You can't do that. You're a Kshatriya, you're supposed to fight. That's your duty. And simultaneously, what does Krishna say? Manmana Madbhakto. He says, constantly think of me while you're doing your duty. So that is how we become Krishna consciousness. We talk about Krishna consciousness, always conscious about the Lord. Always conscious about the divine. So that's how Grihastha also takes. So even that's why we say, early morning why we do a sadhana. It's very important because we are going into a material world. We are going to do material activities. So it's like a kavach. It's for our protection. We are going to deal with materialistic people. So this acts like a kavach. And balancing is very important. One thing more and one thing less is not right. We have a Grihastha, we are bound to look after our wife, our kids, our parents. That we have been given a job of a caretaker by the Lord. There is a reason why we have certain family members or relatives dealing with us on a daily basis. Right? So we deal with them and we don't forget the higher goal also. We spoke about the higher goal, that is to understand ourselves, to understand who is Lord, what is my relationship with God, and how do I progress. So what I do is, we stop here, we start mantra meditation quickly, and if there are any questions, feel free, I'm here only. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Another thing I want to tell was, next week we won't have Sunday since it's Diwali, right? And the following week, we have my mentor actually coming, most of our mentor, who has been guiding us. His name is Kartikeya Prabhu. He's a great orator, and he is the one who is there in Shloka Day. If you have downloaded the app, right? He is the one who is actually speaking in Shloka Day. And the gems, the wisdom that he actually comes out of his lotus mouth will be very nectarian for us, right? So he has actually touched so many souls and transformed their lives. I being one of them, and so many of us, I can speak for them as well. So I just want to let you know, next week we won't have this. The following week we'll have a class on Damodar Leela. It's great to listen to Damodar Leela. It's so nectarian. It actually will cover us with bhakti. Yeah? So please keep yourself free, like you always do on a Sunday. Yeah? So this is the only time that we get to make sure that we plan well in advance. That's why I'm telling you. Right? To ensure that we all enjoy and take the nectarian discourse from Prabhuji. Right? Thank you so much. Let's start. All right. So let's all close our eyes. For the next 10 minutes, we'll dedicate this entire time for the Lord. So many thoughts we have had. Now it's time to park those thoughts. This 10 minutes is our private time with our Lord. Here we are going to constantly chant His name and park all our thoughts that come in between. We're going to tell the thoughts, keep away for 10 minutes. We'll deal with it later. So let's start. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare. For the last 3 times, if you have not focused on the sound, let's focus on the names for the last 3 times. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Keep your eyes closed. Let's offer a silent prayer to the Lord for all our family members, for our relatives, for everyone that we come across on a daily basis, for their well-being. You can open your eyes. Thank you so much.